Hello everybody, this is Aiden Murphy, and this is my final semester-long project presentation. So for my topic, I chose saving energy as a whole and how you can make a difference in your day-to-day life just by managing your appliances better. Before starting, I found that personally, I tend not to worry about turning things off like my computer whenever I left my house. We're taught from a young age to turn the lights off when we leave a room, but no one ever really mentioned anything else. Computers are constantly using power, and making sure they're powered down saves on money, cuts down on your power usage, and reduces your overall carbon emissions. So, again, before beginning this semester-long project, I found that there were very few times when I would actually turn my computer off. The only times would be if I was either going on a vacation, if I would be out of the house for an entire weekend, or if I had family members coming over who I didn't want playing on my computer. But if I was home or just going to school or work, it would stay on the entire time. Then throughout the semester, I focused on turning my electronics off when not in use and finding other ways to use less energy around the house. For example, my ceiling has 9 ceiling lights in it. When doing homework, I would use a desk lamp instead of keeping the lights on, or I would open up a window during the day just to let in some natural light, or even light a candle. Just little things so that you don't have to use massive amounts of energy. Throughout my time recording how often I was using my computer and how often I kept it off, I realized that my computer would remain on for approximately 8 hours a day. That's given my time playing games with friends, my time doing homework, my time online shopping. I would say about 8 hours a day. Some days it would be more, some days it would be less, some days I wouldn't even turn it on at all, but I went with about 8 hours a day for my calculations. So using this information and knowing how much power my computer uses, I was able to estimate how much money I was saving and how much less electricity I was using and how much I was reducing my carbon emissions. All of the calculations that I did for calculating all of these things were based off the fact that my computer is powered by an 800 watt power supply, which was important to note during my calculations. So in a year, my computer emits 525 kilograms of carbon dioxide. When I first looked at this, I did not believe it in the slightest, especially the fact that it costs $1,350 in my electricity bills just for running my computer. That felt absolutely insane when I first started doing all of the research and figuring out all my numbers. One thing to note is that this is based off of my computer using 100% of its possible power for all 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, just completely 100% usage for all of those days straight, which is a little unrealistic, but for the sake of calculations, it makes for a good visual to see how much money you're actually, and how much energy your computer's outputting. And then cutting down to just 8 hours of running the computer a day, reduce those numbers to just 175 kilograms of carbon dioxide and $450 in electricity bills. That is a huge amount of cutting back and a huge amount of savings. The amount of carbon dioxide emissions is the equivalent of driving a average car 13.6 hours straight. Like that amount, the 350 kilograms of carbon dioxide is the equivalent of driving for 13.6 hours straight. And that amount of savings, about the $900, is enough to buy an $894 annual pass to Walt Disney World, which is also kind of crazy. Although I wouldn't suggest buying the annual pass because the amount of carbon dioxide that planes put out is absolutely insane. That amount of carbon dioxide savings, the 350, will only last 40 seconds in a plane. So I don't suggest that. And when I started doing my research, I got extremely curious. I wanted to see more of my appliances and what they were doing to the planet and to my wallet. So I did some research into some different efficiency grades of refrigerator freezer combinations and some different light bulbs. I found that when running a refrigerator for 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, you would use 408 kilowatt hours of energy per year in the lowest tier of refrigerator freezer combination. And when you were using the A++ grade, you cut that nearly in half. That's crazy that just by purchasing smarter electronics, you're able to cut your emissions and cut your energy usage nearly in half, and therefore you're saving more money in the long run as well. And the same can be said about the light bulbs, but it gets even crazier. The standard light bulb uses 100 watts, where the low energy uses just 18. That's more than 80% savings. That's given 4 hours a day, but still the savings, like, that's insane. And the fifth column is the amount of kilograms of carbon dioxide a year. Uh, Personally, before doing all this research, I didn't know that so much carbon dioxide was produced by light bulbs and refrigerators. Maybe refrigerators, but not light bulbs. So it's great to see that they have these low energy alternatives that can do so much good for the environment. So in concluding my semester-long project, I found that turning off my appliances was a bit of an awkward habit to get into. The first week I found myself forgetting to turn my computer off when I went to bed, and I didn't really get into a proper daily habit of doing it until the first few weeks. It doesn't sound like something that you want to spend your time doing. Like, why would I turn my computer off if I can just leave it on and then go right back to it in the morning or something like that? But when you really take the time to do the calculations, look into the numbers, figure out how much more you could be saving, it starts to make a huge difference. I think that when people start to see the amount of money they could be saving with proper device management, whether it's purchasing smarter appliances or if it's just turning their devices off when not in use, they're going to be a lot more motivated to make change. I think that it would really help if companies who are producing these smarter electronics really went at it with the advertising, showing how much you'll be saving. Um, I think money is one of the biggest motivators, and once people start to see how much that they'll be saving by simply just buying something better than what they had before, they'll really want to make that switch. And also during my semester, I took a trip to London, and I thought that it was worth noting that in the River Thames, the big famous river that goes right through the heart of London, they use some neat little garbage collectors, and I thought it was really cool, and I figured I'd share it as just kind of a concluding point to my presentation. Thank you all for listening, and I look forward to seeing everyone else's presentations.